Hello, students. It's great to see you. It's been a kind of strange week or two here, figuring out what we're doing as a college. You can imagine that you've been on my mind a lot, and I just hope that all of you are really well right now. I'm going to try to do my best to not bore you, bore you to tears. I was only joking when I said that these clips would make for a good, a natural sleep aid. Hopefully, you'll be able to really get something out of them. Now, what I'm trying to do in each of these clips, and I'll go into this in the first clip, is I'm trying to frame that lesson, whether it's a film or it's a reading or whatever it may be. I want to frame it for you. So I'm not going to do the work for you, but I'm going to give you the architecture to hopefully make the thing make more sense. So I'm going to start, and my first lesson here deals with the history in Winfred McClay's The Land of Hope. Now, what's going on here, right, and what he describes at the beginning of this chapter is something unique. World War II is over. Can you imagine having fought in World War II, whether you were in the battle itself in whatever theater there was, or you were at the home front? All the sacrifices that had been made, all the deaths, all the things that go wrong in war when you just see the ugliness of men killing other men. Can you imagine that being the case? And then all of a sudden there's a peace. Now, what will the peace bring? Well, the first thing that McClay suggests that the peace brings is joy, just a simple joy of knowing, right, that this danger has been overcome. Now, we can imagine what that'll be like, and we hope, right, in the current predicament, that we're going to have that sense of joy, that sigh that this danger is over. And that's exactly what's taking place at the end of World War II. So what do we do after we sigh, according to McClay, after we're like, thank goodness this is done? He says we look around us and we look at the United States and we look, for example, at New York City, and we look at its skyscrapers shining up to the sky, and we say we can build a better America. We think of ourselves and we think of the United States as being something very different than the war-torn world that we've left behind. So what do? Well, we get to work. McClay tells us, for example, that the highway system across the United States that we take for granted today, that was built in the 1940s and the 1950s. We begin to buy cars. We begin to build white picket fence houses. We enjoy one another. We enjoy the peace. Marriage takes off. We have the expression, the baby boom, that takes off in this age. So on every single material front, whether it's transportation or industry, you name it, life is taking off in the 1950s. It's quite similar, right? It's a parallel to those roaring 20s, right? And this is why the 50s were often called happy days, right? We have a president that we like. I like Ike. We have an economy that we like. We're golfing again. We're doing all those things that we enjoy in peacetime. And on one level, things look like they're going in the right direction. But then there's something lurking beneath everything. And that is what it took us materially to win the war. We had to use the atomic bomb twice on Japan. And we now realize that we live in an atomic age. By splitting atoms, we can do great devastation to whole populations. Now, it's one thing when you use that weapon in war against another, but what if someone else now possesses that weapon and wants to direct that weapon against you? You're now living in an age where your whole life could be undone. All of those things that you build up based upon your mortgage, your new car, et cetera, could be undone through the fighting of an atomic war. Cold War materially will be a dangerous time. It'll be a time where we have to come to grips with the fact that on the one hand, we can enjoy ourselves, but on the other hand, things could fall apart quickly. The moral of McClay's chapter in saying all things and thoughts were split is the idea that we have to live with this duality of a pleasant side of things on one hand and a dangerous side of things on the other. If you get that from reading the chapter, you've got the main moral of this chapter that we cover.